about the tactics. And please reach out to us. If you want to finish working on some of those, giving us suggestions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us because your input is really important. I have a sitting challenge that I'd like you to take. True or false? The average U.S. adult spends 35 hours per week watching TV. True. Most of us spend more time sitting, 9.3 hours a day, than sleeping. It is true. Smokers lose 11 minutes of life per cigarette they smoke. That is true. Whereas for every hour of sitting, we shorten our lives by 22 minutes. That is true. And a lot of your mouths are hanging open. True. People who sit the most have a 147% increase in their risk of cardiac disease. It's true. Epidemiological data from almost 1 million people links excess sitting to 34 chronic conditions and diseases. That is true. And lastly, excess sitting causes a variety of cancer. That's also true. Now, what's interesting is I could share these really astounding facts with people, but do you think it's enough to get people to change? It isn't. We know education alone doesn't get people to change. How many of you have tried to change the behavior of somebody you love? Most of you have. Were you successful? Most of you are saying no. It's because change typically doesn't happen unless crisis happens or emotions are raised. And we have to think about sharing more stories. Many of you have heard about how I was 15 and my mother sneezed and stroked out right in front of me from uncontrolled hypertension. That could have been prevented. Americans suffer, 1 out of 2 people suffer from a chronic condition, and 80 to 90% of those chronic conditions are preventable. So find your reason today. Let today be your January 1, because that's when most people say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And then research tells us 90% of people fall off the wagon by January 30th. So you don't need to wait till January 1st to set a new health and wellness goal. Before you leave today, there are index cards on your table. And what I'd like you to do is commit and write it down to making one healthy lifestyle change today before you leave. So again, we know sitting leads to twice your risk of diabetes. That would have been a major error today to see me fall off that stage. 90% greater risk of cardiovascular disease and 49% greater risk of all-cause mortality. Now, how many of you would say you have pretty bad family genes that run in your family? Many of you do. I have this slide just for you today, because I have awful genes. My mom died 52 of stroke. My dad, a heart attack in 61. So I could throw up my hands and say, what good is it? I have bad genes. I'm going to die young. But when you look at this slide, I think it's so important for you to see genes contribute 30% to premature death, but behaviors contribute 40%. And again, those behaviors are under our control. We can make a decision to change them. So there was a study that was done that was excellent that showed here are all your risk factors for chronic conditions on the left-hand side of the slide. So smoking, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, overweight, obesity, physical inactivity, alcohol abuse, and low fruit and vegetable intake contribute and predict all these chronic diseases on the right. So all we have to do to eliminate more of those chronic diseases is really change those risk factors. And all of those risk factors are modifiable through healthy lifestyle behaviors. Now, the number one excuse, would you agree with this, for not engaging in physical activity is time, right? How many of you often use time as, I can't really do that, 30 minutes, 5 days a week? We all have the same amount of time, and I want to show you this clip about what you can do with the time that you have. So I'm going to ask the audiovisual team here to start this video.
These are roughly 28,835 jelly beans. I counted out 500 of them and used those to weigh the rest. In this pile, there's one jelly bean for each day that the average American will live. You might have more beans in your life, or maybe less, but on average, this is the time we have. Here's a single bean. It's your very first day. A special day, but kind of a rough day on everyone involved. Add 364 more and you have the first year of your life. Now, for a sense of scale, here are your first 15 years. 5,475 days, which brings us to the threshold of adulthood. And at that moment, this is the time that we have left. And this is, on average, what we will do with all that time. We will be asleep for a total of 8,477 days. If we're lucky, some of that time we'll be sleeping next to someone we love. We will be in the process of eating, drinking, or preparing food for 1,635 days. We'll be at work, hopefully doing something satisfying, for the equivalent of 3,202 of those days. 1,099 days will be spent commuting or traveling from one place to another, maybe a little bit more if you live in LA. On average, we will watch television in one form or another for a total of 2,676 days. Household activities, like chores and tending to our pets and shopping, will take another 1,576 days. And we will care for the needs and well-being of others, our friends and family, for 564 days. We'll spend 671 days bathing, grooming, and doing all other bathroom-related activities, and another 720 days will go to community activities, like religious and civic duties, charities, and taking classes. After we remove all those beans, this is what remains. This is the time that we have left. Time for laughing, swimming, making art, going on hikes, text messages, reading, checking Facebook, playing softball, maybe even teaching yourself how to play the guitar. So what are you going to do with this time? How much of it do you think you've already used up? If you only had half of it, what would you do differently? What about half of that? How much time have you already spent worrying instead of doing something that you love? What if you just had one more day? What are you going to do today?
That's a pretty powerful clip. But in all seriousness, we have to remember what we do today is going to determine what those last decades of our life is going to be like. I'm sad to say that our children are predicted to have a shorter lifespan than we do today. And that's the first time in our history. So I want to encourage all of us to say, we all have the same amount of time, but how can we parcel out just a little bit of it every day to take good care of ourselves? Because if we don't take good care of ourselves, how are we going to take great care of other people? So this is choice, and this is the type of choices we make every day. Some of you who have come to Health Athlete have seen this slide. This is a real fitness facility in the state of California, and people have a choice. Do I take the escalator or the steps to go up to the fitness facility? And a group of researchers put a video crew out there one day because they were curious. How many people decide to take the steps? 2, a whole 10-hour day. So I've been teasing folks and saying, I'm going to run around the university and put charge machines on the elevators so that people who are not handicapped or don't have a broken leg need to put a quarter in that change machine to take the elevator. But think about that. We drive around parking lots 15 minutes looking for a place to park instead of park far away and get more steps in. So we have to, again, appeal to people's emotions to get them moving. I had to show you a pug slide because I have 2 pugs, and they're my favorite animals. But appeal, think about how can I reach my colleagues' emotions a little bit more to get them motivated to join me in making a healthy lifestyle change. So every year at State of Health and Wellness, I show you our latest statistics for our population health. And I want to show you those statistics today. And if you look at them, you might say, oh no, Bern, we've slipped down a little bit in terms of the percent of faculty and staff who are overweight or obese. But I also put numbers of people up there for you because I want you to see this past year we had 97% of our faculty and staff who not only took their PHAs, but who did biometric screens. Last year, we had 14,000 people take the biometric screens. This year, 28,000 did that. So we are actually looking at these biometric numbers this year as baseline, because we didn't have that many people who did it last year. Now, if you look at the latest CDC data that just came out, the percent of adults who are obese in our country has gone up. It's 36.5% now. Children and teens, it's 17%. So nationally, the number of overweight individuals has dropped a little, but the percent of obesity has increased. We don't like to focus a lot on weight here. We are really focused on helping you get healthier through behavior change. And that's what we're going to keep focusing on, is modifying your lifestyle behaviors so we will get to better numbers as a result. Really good news, though, if you look at high blood pressure, the number of people who have normal blood pressure here amongst faculty and staff is almost 50%. We had set a goal to get to 48.1, and we have achieved that. So we're really excited about that number, although we want to continue to improve the numbers of people who have normal blood pressures. Hemoglobin A1Cs, though, we have dropped a little bit with that, the number of people who have that in the normal range. But again, this is the first year we have almost total population health data. So we're looking at that data again as baseline. Total cholesterol, about 74% of our faculty and staff have desirable cholesterol levels below 200. 5% have high cholesterol levels. Now, the really good news on HDLs for our population is actually for women here. Because as you can see, HDLs, those are high-density lipoproteins. There are happy or good lipids. Women, this sample, this population we have here, we have great HDLs. But I think as you look at the trends, who participates the most in a lot of our wellness activities? It's a lot of women. So I think, again, we're doing a good job women-wise getting people engaged. We have a lot of guys out here in the audience today. And if you look at male HDL levels, 27, almost 28% don't have the kind of happy lipid levels that we would like to see. Good news on the depression and the anxiety front. We saw a drop from last year to this year in the percent of our employees reporting depressive symptoms and anxiety symptoms. And we continue to focus on mental health because it's so important. This is the first year we have embedded a culture of health survey into our PHA. And I want to share those results with you. 67% of our faculty and staff believe that Ohio State has a culture of health and wellness, which I think is great, that 2/3 of our faculty and staff believe that. Our teams totally are excited about that. because we do believe that that culture is shifting. We can work individually with people, with health coaching and other types of programming, but we need the whole culture to be one where healthy choices are the easy choices for people to make. 56% of you said senior leadership is actively engaged in promoting and role modeling wellness behaviors. We are trying to pump that up. And one of the ways we're going to do that is we're going to continue to recognize leaders who are doing a great job at that. I'll be presenting our first leadership award in just a little bit. 69% of faculty and staff think health and wellness programs are readily available. This is much higher than national benchmarking. So again, I think what we're doing in terms of turning the culture is really affecting how people view wellness at our university. And we have been working as a team on getting better at our communication. And I'm really happy to see that 73% of our faculty and staff think our communications are clear, because that wasn't the case about 3-4 years ago. So again, we are making improvement. Nearly 90% of you said, we do think it's important for Ohio State to promote health and wellness, but we need to get better on the ease to engage. So a little over half of you said our programs are easy to engage in. So that's something else we would really like your feedback on. What can we do to help people engage more in the wonderful programs that are currently offered? 2/3 of you said we're satisfied with the programming that is offered, and nearly 60% of you believe that you have higher overall well-being as a result of being here at Ohio State. And I was really excited to see that over half of our university population, they really believe they're healthier because they work here at Ohio State. We have 4% of our population who reported that they smoke. That's far below national standards. Everybody knows we have a tobacco-free policy here at Ohio State. We want to help anybody who smokes to stop smoking. We also want to help people who socially smoke to stop smoking, because we know social smoking often leads to a regular pattern of smoking. 72% of our faculty and staff say they never have 6 or more drinks on one occasion, but that leaves 28% of folks that do. Again, I'm going to show you a statistic about alcohol use in a couple of minutes. Employees who engage, and here's one area that we have to focus on really heavily, because only 28% of people here at our university are actually meeting recommendations for physical activity. And that's 30 minutes 5 days a week. That doesn't have to be at the gym, sweating like crazy with a trainer. It can be 3 just 10-minute walks a day. 6 5-minute breaks when you get up and do some jumping jacks. So that is one area we really do need to improve in. 60% of you said, I do eat the recommended 5 fruits and vegetables a day, which is much higher than the national average. Employees who felt they get enough sleep, 61% of you, but that means 39% of you don't feel that you do get enough sleep, and 7 hours a night is the magic number. When we sleep less than 7, our body makes a lot more cortisol. And we know the adverse effects of cortisol on the body. I was really psyched to see the last about work-life balance, because I was figuring we would be lucky if we hit 50% of people who believe they have good work-life balance. But 72% of our faculty and staff said we're satisfied with work-life balance, which is great. So that's our data, this piece of the PHA, of the biometric screen. And I'm going to call up my wonderful colleague, Nancy Campbell now, who's an assistant VP in HR, who's going to share some exciting data about all the engagement that we have had this year in our programs. Do you want to talk from this or that? You listen so well. It's great.
And I think I'll sit down now. Give me a moment to get hooked up here. Can you hear me? Okay, thanks. Thanks, Bern. I am delighted to be here today. I am here, though, I need to acknowledge for our Senior Vice President for Talent, Culture, and HR, AJ Douglas. She unfortunately was not able to be in the office today. She sends her regards. She wishes that she could be here. AJ is a very strong supporter of health and wellness at the university. But I'm delighted I get the chance, though, to talk with all of you. I'm excited to spend a few minutes to just share with you, as Bern said, what are the ways that faculty and staff are engaged in health and wellness? What are the stories that we are hearing from them? And what are the trends that we are seeing? And to begin with that, I'd like to show you a short video that AJ will make a couple of comments, but it highlights 4 stories from staff in terms of their journey. So if you could play the video, please.
Working here is truly amazing. People come here because they truly believe in the mission and the cause of what we're about. And I think that's what inspires us to really be more aware of our wellness effort and how important that is for our own employees.
I joined your plan for health to just be healthy and set a better example for my granddaughter.
My health and well-being goals are just mostly trying to stay active. Your plan for health is a lot about just making small changes and forming good habits. Just making manageable changes has really helped.
A current goal is I'd love to run a half marathon. I was a long-time smoker. I'd quit for months in the past, and then I'd go back to it. And then I saw that there was a bonus incentive for doing smoking cessation here at the university, so I was like, well, why not? I'll try it. They set me up with a health coach, and it was much easier to stick with it, at least for me, when I was checking in with somebody.
I went to what I thought would be a very routine biometric health screening on campus. It proved to be anything but routine. As it turned out, some of the numbers that came back indicated that I was very, very close to entering into the world of diabetes. Literally days later, one of my daughters introduced me to the Fitbit, and I was initially skeptical about whether it would work, because not all apps work for blind or visually impaired users of smartphones. We connected it, it worked flawlessly, and that's when I began to really get interested in Your Plan for Health, because I was able to use it in conjunction with the Fitbit to achieve goals, to set goals, and a year later, when those same numbers were run, the results were dramatically better.
On Your Plan for Health, they have the care coordination program that I've utilized since day one. After 3 years of working with my care coordinator and trying to quit smoking, I finally quit, and I feel incredible. I wake up each day and I'm like, really? I'm a non-smoker?
All we did was create an avenue, a road for them to go. And along the way, provide opportunities and resources for them. They're doing this themselves. It's amazing to see that and to know that we're all part of this together.
It's very nice to work for an organization that will provide ample resources to better yourself.
It's an incredible program and something that OSU offers, and I would recommend it to anyone.
I could sit down at this point. I mean, that is what it's all about. Do any of the individuals who are in the video, I don't know, are any of you happen to be in the audience today? I see fingers pointing. There, we've got, let's recognize him. Thank you. As AJ commented, what we are doing is creating the avenue or the road for our faculty and staff and for their families to be involved. And that journey really begins with awareness, drive on to participation, and you hope that the final destination is outcomes or behavior change. On this slide, envision that there is an entrance ramp to awareness. At Ohio State, we have 2 foundational tools that we use to help people as they enter into that area of awareness. Our biometric screening and our personal health assessment. You know, we're often asked the question, why do you encourage us so much to complete these 2 tools? Why do you incent people to do that? The answer really is pretty simple. With taking that information, individuals have a very quick, easy, confidential way to get a health status snapshot. They also get recommendations that are personalized, that support them in defining their own goals. Excuse me. With the biometric screening, over the last 3 years, we have seen a steady increase in those who have completed, from 16,000 to 17,000 to this year, just shy of 20,000 people who completed an on-campus biometric screening or submitted a fax form verifying their data. That's a pretty incredible increase in 3 years. And quite honestly, a lot of that is due to all of your involvement and support as innovators or as those who are really engaged and committed to what we are doing. In addition to the biometric screenings, we've seen a steady increase in those completing the personal health assessment. Each year, you can see going up to an all-time high of over 28,000 people this year. So what do we do with that data? Not only is it for you individually, but for us as an organization, this really helps guide our decisions in determining the programs, the tools, the services that we provide as you go down your road. We are now down the road and moving from awareness to participation. 233% increase in 1 year of those who earned gift cards through incentives. How did they do that? They participated in health challenges, almost 34,000 people. They participated in Hit the Road with the Buckeyes. How many people in here were on a Hit the Road with the Buckeye team? Over 4,000 teams, 5 to 6 people on a team. And then people participate in our lifestyle management programs offered by our health plan. 1,596 people in health coaching, 1,143 in care coordination, 843 in our Buckeye baby program. Did any of you see the picture before the Michigan game of our babies at the hospital wrapped in the blankets that had Beat Michigan on them? I know some of those people were part of our Buckeye Babies program. And then, hopefully, as we move from awareness to participation, we are moving toward the behavior change and to outcomes. What are some of the things that we're starting to see? This year we relaunched Weight Watchers. With just our on-site meetings to date this year, almost 1,900 pounds lost. And we know that that number is even greater if we added in those that are participating in the online program. Minutes of physical activity, 812 million minutes. 17 million servings of fruits and vegetables. That's a lot of fruits and vegetables. Just short of 400,000 times people practiced 10 minutes of mindfulness. Over 2 billion steps taken by those who participated in Hit the Road. You know, the numbers are impressive, but what I can tell you, because I have the privilege, along with the Your Plan for Health team and all of us who are involved, to hear the stories behind those numbers. So when we hear people talk about, I can more easily play with my children or with my grandchildren. I shop in a different way when I go to the grocery store. I have my family going out and we walk together. I miss fewer days of work. You know, and we've had people literally say to us, getting my biometric screening, being alerted by a high number. For the first time ever, I engaged with a primary care provider, and I believe it ultimately saved my life. I mean, these are the kinds of stories that we hear time and time again. So, where are we going? You saw the numbers. We have more work to do. I really like that. You know, we have to think about what is our data telling us? How are we currently incenting our faculty and staff? What incentives work? What don't work? What do we need to incent more? What do we need to incent less? How much do we need to incent? We're going to look at some new enhanced programming and engagement for this year. One of the things that we want to do this year is to target more and incent those with pre-chronic conditions. We also are looking at pilot programs for those who are pre-diabetic and pilot programs for those who are at cardiovascular risk. We're looking at our challenges that relate to our themes of healthy eating, active living, and emotional well-being. This year we're going to try something new as an addition to what we're doing, is looking at 2-month, approximately long challenges that we can do some pre-survey and post-survey after people have been involved, and then align the incentive with the kind of program. So for example, if we were doing a 2-month-long program focused on nutrition and heart health, then the incentive potentially could be those who are engaged would be eligible for a drawing that might be the incentive to go to a healthy cooking class, or to shop at a grocery store such as Lucky's or Whole Foods or someplace where there are healthier options. So we're looking at doing 5 or 6 of those throughout the year, along with these targeted pilot programs. That doesn't mean that we aren't still going to have challenges for everyone else who might not fit into one of those categories. And I'm really excited about one of the challenges that we're working on. We're engaged with the health and wellness team at the University of Michigan, and sometime during this coming year we will be offering a challenge, Ohio State against that place up north, that will give us yet another opportunity to beat them. I'm not competitive at all. But with all that said, what's the challenge? And I guess what's your challenge? Bern always is good about saying, individually, think about one small step that you can take, that you can commit to. I'd like to also ask you to think about that as being part of this university community. As a supervisor or a manager, how are you supporting those that report to you? How might you help them set a goal? As an innovator or as a person who could provide leadership or influence something within your local community, and what I mean by that is your department, your college, what might you do? In his book, The Tipping Point, that Malcolm Gladwell wrote several years ago, he stated that great change comes when a small number of people do small things persistently. And he went on to say that for change, a lot of times only about 20% of a population might really commit to the idea or the event or the technology. But with that percent, if people were persistent, that was the essence of change. And you can see by our engagement, we have a lot of people that are participating and are committed to change. So I know that with that ongoing help and support from all of you, we can keep the pedal to the metal as we go down that road, and we will achieve becoming the healthiest university. Bern likes to say globe. She is much more than I am. I say the country. I sort of start there and go to the globe. But we can do it, but it's because of all of you that we have seen these increased numbers in engagement, and I just want to thank you for that.
I'd now like to introduce Connie Boehm, Director of Student Wellness, to say a few words because we are a team. Faculty, staff, students, we're a team building this culture of health and wellness together. Connie.
Thank you, Bern. I will say that Dr. J sends her regrets. She was unable to be here today for the Office of Student Life. And as Bern mentioned, I'm the Director of Student Life Student Wellness Center, and I'm thrilled to be here to share a few minutes with you. As we all know, our students face challenges every day. Some concerns, I thought Bern was going to put a slide up for me, but some concerns our students face are financial debt, stress, alcohol and prescription drug misuse, eating disorders, and depression. As higher education professionals, and I see some students out there, we all recognize that these issues are all interconnected. And here at Ohio State, we look at these issues as interconnected, and we're working hard to change the climate to encourage more healthful behaviors among our students. And we actually have several students in the audience that are working hard to work with their friends and peers to make those changes. Some of the innovative ways that we are working towards this change include we've implemented a wellness initiative based on the 9 dimensions of wellness that includes 60 wellness ambassadors and more for next year, a wellness coaching program which is nationally recognized and nationally benchmarked almost daily, and we have the wellness assessment. And this initiative has presented over 250 presentations and reached nearly 6,000 students last year. We also have the Scarlet and Gray financial program, which reached thousands of students to help support their financial needs. It has been benchmarked by over 100 institutions. We also co-hosted and founded the 2nd Annual National Summit on Collegiate Financial Wellness with Indiana University, and recently launched a research instrument in partnership with the Center for the Study of Student Life to look at student financial wellness on over 50 campuses across the country. Student Life Student Health Services has played an instrumental role in the decision, planning, and implementation of the university's new vaccination requirement. Student Health Services is responsible for tracking this compliance, assuring quality, and providing vaccinations as needed. For the first time, Student Life Recreational Sports has offered class credit for trips through the Outdoor Adventure Center. I encourage you to take a look at some of these trips. They're pretty awesome. They include backpacking, sea kayaking, and whitewater rafting to really cool places. The Office of Student Life has also worked with the College of Social Work and the College of Pharmacy to establish the Higher Education Center for Alcohol and Drug Misuse Prevention and Recovery. Counseling and Consultation Services has introduced a new iPhone Android app. I once again encourage you to take a look at that. I believe the address or the app is OSU CCS. This app offers students information about counseling and consultation services, also has relaxation exercises for students, videos, music, and also has a GPS-enabled map which will help students know where the resources are. And we have a thriving collegiate recovery community that is now almost 25 students in recovery that participate in that. But as with faculty and staff, with students, there's so much more work to be done. Student wellness is tied directly to student success. Students have the ability to learn and to grow, to be retained, and ultimately graduate, and this is all tied to the ability to stay well. As we have heard Dr. J often say, almost everything we do in student life can be tied either directly or indirectly to wellness. We can learn from each other about new ways to expand services across our campus and new ways to gain support across campus to best serve today's students. You, the people in this room, each of you, are unique and powerful, and you would not be at this event unless you cared about the wellness of faculty, staff, and students. And individually, we can all do great things, but together, we can help build that healthiest campus on the globe. Thank you.
Last year at our health fair, there was an exhibit up, and it showed how many teaspoons of sugar were in common things that we eat. Are you surprised to see the amount of sugar in these two particular products? So again, Americans eat so much sugar that they don't even realize that they are eating. So again, I encourage you, along with our team, eat healthy, drink a lot of water. That's super, super important as you think about what healthy lifestyle changes you're going to commit to today. Now, I am actually going to forgo this particular video, and I want to move on and recognize some fantastic teams of people and individuals who are leading health and wellness. This is the first year we are giving out a leader award to a dean or a vice president who has done amazing things in terms of supporting health and wellness. It gives me great pleasure to present our first leadership award to Dean Trevor Brown. So, Trevor, can you join me? Congratulations, it's wonderful. I just want to read you very quickly what his faculty and staff said about him. So come back up here, that's good. So his faculty and staff said, Trevor is a role model for wellness in the John Glenn College of Public Affairs in a variety of ways. Even before he was appointed dean, he invited all faculty, staff, and students to participate in morning strength training and cardiovascular sessions at the RPAC. He is a supporter of decreasing sedentary work and inactivity. He personally uses a standing desk. And in closing, Dean Brown has invested substantial time, effort, and heart into making the Glenn College a healthier, happier, and more productive place for faculty, staff, and students. So, congratulations. Now I'm going to have Megan Amaya, who is Director of Health Promotion and Wellness, present the two Supervisor Awards.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you. I'm going to read a brief bio about each one of them, and I'll have you come up together so that we can present you with both awards. The first, so we chose a nominee for the Wexner Medical Center as well as the academic side of the university. So our first nominee is Matthew Boland, who is a nurse manager for the Comprehensive Transplant Center in the Brain and Spine Hospital at the Wexner Medical Center. Matt has enthusiastically supported 4 of his staff to be involved in health and wellness, and a couple of them are sitting right here. He takes every opportunity to help staff by taking advantage of anything health-related that is offered, such as chair massages, flu shots, biometric screenings, trying to make things convenient for their unit. Also, they moved from the from Kinnear Road to the main hospital campus, and I think this is just tremendous and awesome. He made sure to keep everyone on the team informed of everything that was happening along the way. We all know how stressful moves can be, from construction to parking to new clinic flow to working and seating arrangements, computers. He actually allowed everyone in the unit to get a standing work desk, which is awesome. So I think that was just really helpful in the transition. Held field trips for staff to go over and take a look at their new areas. So he's currently working on the innovators on a meditation exercise room, considering a treadmill, maybe some handheld weight, and is happy to hear suggestions to make anything better. So at least we'll give you a round of applause, and then we'll bring you up here in just a second, Matt. Our other nominee, Michelle Carr from the College of Dentistry. She's chair of the Division of Dental Hygiene there in the college. The Buckeye Wellness Innovator who wrote this about her, she actually suggested our first guacamole competition, which to date has been one of the most popular and fun events. She advocates and shares all upcoming events during our faculty meetings. She encourages the innovators to think about new ideas for the college in terms of wellness. She actually suggested doing a tea event, everyone bringing in a box of tea to share, hoping to get individuals to drink things other than soda and pop. She's been one of the biggest supporters by attending health and wellness events in the college, including the OSU Stadium Walk, which the college does annually. She is a great role model for everyone in the department in the college, teaching everyone to take good care of themselves. That gives you the great reward of overall appearance and health. So Michelle, congratulations. I don't know where Michelle is. Okay, hi. So both of you can come up.
Go on to our innovators. Just recognize.
Right here? Okay. Or do you want the 8 people?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
I'm going to congratulations. Congratulations, Matt. Here's your plaque.
Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for Michelle and Matt. We have now over 550 wellness innovators, faculty and staff who dedicate their time to working with our team to really create a fabulous culture and environment of wellness here in Buckeye Nation. This year, for our campus campaign, we started a new wellness fund. And my commitment to the innovators was to begin to use those funds to push back to our innovators so they can work more intensively on health and wellness in their units. These were the 8 folks who submitted proposals and were awarded the first Innovator Health and Wellness Funds this year. So please stand and be recognized for your awesome, awesome work. Now I get the great pleasure of introducing our terrific 15th president, Dr. Michael Drake. And I have a funny story to share about you, President Drake, that should you leave, you can stay to listen to that. The Med Center threw a welcome for President Drake before he actually joined us. And I was asked to come and do a presentation just to outline our vision for wellness at the university. And as part of the vision, I shared these 4 evidence-based healthy lifestyle behaviors that we all have to engage in to have that much less chronic disease. So after I outlined these, President Drake got up to the podium and said, I want to address Bern's 4 evidence-based healthy lifestyle behaviors and let all of you know that I walked 15 minutes to the local liquor store this morning, had a drink, and walked 15 minutes back. And now you tell me I could have had 2, not 1. So that was a great example of what a great witty spirit that President Drake has. We were so fortunate to recruit him from sunny California, where he was chancellor of the University of California at Irvine. I am so excited that he is our leader, and I want to share something with all of you because as we've talked, it's so important for the grassroots faculty, staff, and students to engage in a culture of wellness, but we have a leader who believes in that and practices that and has actually embedded a goal for wellness for our population here. So with that, please give a warm welcome to President Michael Drake. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Bern. I appreciate it. And actually, I hadn't meant for you to repeat that story, and I can't tell you how much I've appreciated the advice of the expanded guidelines since that time. Only teasing. It's very, very good to be here. You know, there's nothing more important to us in our campus than the health and wellness of our campus community and the broader community. This has been a very difficult week for us, and we've had a series of extraordinarily unfortunate events, tragedies have occurred. And one of the things that, a couple things have been cleared during this time. First, the resilience and strength of the enterprise of our community. On the health and wellness side, the truly heroic work that, fruitless in the end, but heroic work that went on from the wee hours of the morning Wednesday until Wednesday morning with the unfortunate young man who died last Wednesday morning, but really 8 hours of consistent, focused, moment-to-moment effort to try to turn around the inevitable. And very proud of the people there and how hard everyone came together and worked. That was one of those things that where you see all of our efforts fall short, but you can see how much good we do for so many people in so many other circumstances because of the dedication and focus that we're on tap. And if I may say a word more, I have the task of talking to mothers and fathers who've lost their children on some number of occasions each year. And so it's unusual that we have a week when I have 3 of those phone calls. And that was this last week. And had a chance to meet one set of parents who came here on Wednesday. And I'll say that the pride that the students had in being a part of Buckeye Nation and the pride that the families had in their students for being a part of this enterprise, and the connectedness of the parents with the students and with the university have been something that has resonated through each of these discussions, that the students were overjoyed to be here, the parents were proud and overjoyed that their students were here. The tragedy is that the great thing that was our association was cut short. And that's sort of been a recurring theme that we've revisited too many times recently. What it reminds me of or makes me think of, though, is the importance of the work that we do. the privilege of the work that we do, but the importance of doing our very best in the work that we do to make this a place that is worthy of that level of dedication and that level of connectedness, and that we really are true to our mission of focusing on our broader communities, doing all we can to make everyone healthy every day. And so it just sort of comes home to roost when we are down at the lowest points, at the bottom of our interactions, and to have people be from those places in a place where they can move forward and to appreciate all we've done to get there is something that is a reflection of the quality of the work that you all do every day. And just want you to know how many people appreciate it and how many, in so many different ways, in so many different places, far beyond our ability to even know. So thanks for this particular effort. I want to just say that Bern has been a great champion of health and wellness since the time that she came. It's been great. AJ Douglas, is AJ here? I'll raise my hand as though I'm AJ. AJ has also been a great point of focus. Dr. J, a great point of focus for our health and wellness efforts, and being able to connect these efforts across the campus and our different enterprises is really, really important in making it work well. We know of the 500 wellness innovators on campus working so hard, and the awardees are much deserved. And let me say, if we could acknowledge them once again and give them a round of applause, that would be great. As I was saying, it's the little things that we do on a daily basis to try to do our best that make us the kind of place that's able to hold together in the times that are difficult. We're also really grateful to have partners throughout the country in the quest to make us healthier. And we have many people working with us on research and wellness and discovery. We're a founding partner of the Building Healthy Academic Communities National Summit, which is a national effort to build and improve health and wellness outcomes. And the National Summit meeting was held last year at UC Irvine, so that good collaborative work continues. Bern was talking about the sunny weather in Irvine. Actually, they pray for rain, so I guess whatever you have, never mind, I won't go into that, but it's this would be seen as a great day there. And let me say that one of the wonderful things about our university is I mentioned connectiveness, how we touch people in Buckeye Nation, but really the connections we have all across the country and beyond that around the world, where people who are working together to do great things. We are honored to welcome colleagues from the Women's Heart Alliance here today with us. Excited about the important work that the Alliance done. I'm glad to have our guests here today. I know that lots of information sharing is taking place there. And our health and wellness goal is really a twofold goal. The first thing we'd like to do is to be the healthiest possible university that we can be. We talk a lot about competitive lists and rankings and things like that, like being really great at this and being really great at that. There's some things that are within our control. One thing that's within our control is how healthy we are. We get to determine that, and it's our actions that determine how healthy we are. We don't have to rely on anyone else or someone. We have to have a couple of teams lose to make it to the playoffs this weekend. Health and wellness, we really control our own destiny. And so when we seek being the healthiest university in the country, that's something that's within our power to achieve. And so I think it's really a worthy goal, and it's great always to have goals that are within one's power to achieve. The other thing that's important to us as an institution in the world is as we're more healthy, as we take better care of ourselves, we don't use as many resources in treating ourselves. And so we actually have more time, energy, and more resources to be able to invest in the core missions of the university, which are to make a better world for everyone else. And so being healthy ourselves is good, and then being an efficient, effective organization is great, and all those things together allow us to be even better. For the third straight year, the Wexler Medical Center is one of only a few. It's top 10, but they're ties. So this year there were 13 academic medical centers that were acknowledged by the University Health System Consortium's Quality Leadership Award. I think we're ranked third in that category this year, just behind the Mayo Clinic, and that was really great. That, again, is the efforts of so many people in this room and people all across the country, all across the campus to do our very, very best work. So we're really happy to be recognized as a place that's great for quality and safety in our health system. I'd say also that the outreach of the health system and the ability to have quality health care across the community, things that were helped by Medicaid expansion in Ohio. Many more people are getting quality care in Ohio now than was the case even a couple of years ago. And the financial burden of that care on those families who could least afford it is much, much less than it was even a few years ago. And that we've been able to see in our own results, and it resonates in the homes of Ohioans all across the state. We opened this last year, just about a year ago, and we're going actually for a celebration there tonight. We opened the new James Cancer Hospital and Solov Research Institute, and that's been great. It was open right in December, and then by January it was nearly full, and then we were actually having to work on bed assignments by February. It worked really wonderfully well. It really made a big difference to the community. And so those things that we can see in a big way, like the new hospitals or the quality of the hospital is measured with other hospitals across the country, those things we see in small ways every day with our patients and our colleagues who we deal with. But going back to where I began at the very beginning, the way that we're able as an institution, as a university, as a health system, the way we're able to touch people's lives, to touch their hearts and their minds, and to be meaningful to them as an agent of good in the world is something that's a great blessing and privilege for us. And so let me say that I am in a position routinely of representing the university to outside groups and talking about what we do. When that happens many times, as was the case in my conversations with parents earlier this week, I hear the gratitude they have for the quality of the work we do, our consistency, our integrity, our values, how hard we work to try to make the world a little bit better, how much that means to them, how much they appreciate it. And I want to make sure that you know that all derives from the kind of work that you on a daily basis, work that you do on a daily basis. So your being the best you can be makes us the best we can be, and us being the best we can be helps to elevate the lives of our whole community. Thanks so much for what you do. Go Bucks.
Thank you. It was so great to hear from President Drake. To finish up, we have a new challenge forthcoming. It is going to be called Buckeyes Band Together for Health and Wellness. Everybody has a different band at your seat, and I'm going to call up Brenda Buffington, a member of our team, and Lauren Batista with Megan, and we're going to finish with some cool resistance exercises.
Very good. All right, I'd like for you all to rise, please. We had a sheet of paper on every table and asked you to think about what one of the 9 dimensions of wellness is the foundation. So we'd like for one person to pick up that color and just show it to us right here. Have you decided on a color? That's a good point. Also, we would love to have some of you who only have 3 at a table. Do you want to join this table, for example? Maybe this middle table come up. Join up so that we do have 10 people per table. That would be ideal. So let's go ahead and have one person decide that they have decided that is the foundation of their wellness. For example, we chose red. So we would like for you and someone across your table to join in with that one. Like Steph, if you would join, say, Connie with this one, and we'll show you up here as well. All right? And then, Lauren, you want to come on this other side, please?
Okay.
And go ahead and hook it around, but come on this side. And then Bern is going to hook up. We'd like you all to band together your bands, and let's exercise band together. So what I'd like to do now is, you see how we're hooked up? So we'd like to go ahead and take a minute and hook up as many different colors. You can just hook it around maybe the one that is going straight across. All right? So let me lead you now in some exercises. Let's begin with increasing our postural muscles. So I'd love for you to pull back And you can, if you have 2 of them, and you can pull back just like that. There it is. And it is 1. Great. 2. All together. 3. That's it. 4. 5. Excellent. Pull. 6. Looks good. 7. 8. Great. 9. And 10. Excellent. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of waist work. Does anybody want to do some core work in here? All right, go ahead and maybe hook it around. I'm going to ask you all to turn like I am to your right. And we're going to continue to go to your right, keeping your feet going straight ahead, just your body turning. Excellent. And 5 more. You've got it. 4. Great. Exhale. 3. Right there. Exhale. 2. Nice. And 1. Well, we must go the other direction now. So still facing center. Torso rotation to the left. And ready to go. 1. Perfect. 2. 3. Good. 4. We've got it. 5. Excellent. 6. 7. 8. Great. 9. And 10. Let's do one last one. I think we've got some blood pumping now. You're just going to hold on, continue to band together, and we'd love for you now to just squat and come back up. Excellent. And here we go. And down. There's 1. Beautiful. Down. 2. Great. Down. 3. Down. 4. Nice. Down. 5. Down. Excellent. 6. Down. You've done this before. 7. Good. Down. 8. Down. 9. And down. 10. Would you join me with putting both hands up in the air and saying, band together? Yes.
Band together. Woo!
Awesome. Great job, everyone. Great job.
Now, your challenge is to go back to your units and do some of these exercises with the bands. Encourage people to leave. Now, everybody's commented, so we are almost finished, but everybody has commented that our goal is to be the healthiest, right? In the country, in my vision, in the planet, right? So people often look at us big dreamers with 2 heads. Like, how are you ever going to achieve that? Maybe we're not moving as fast as we dreamed. We have to remember anything worth having is worth persisting. But we got to keep the vision in front of us. What kind of speech did Martin Luther King have? He had I had a dream speech, not I had a plan speech, right? Not that strategic planning isn't important, it is. But we got to keep our dream alive as a team to be the healthiest and persist through the character builders. So I want to launch you to go back by watching this awesome clip.
Dismissed from drama school with a note that read, wasting her time, she's too shy to put her best foot forward. Turned down by the Decca Recording Company, who said, we don't like their sound and guitar music is on the way out. A failed soldier, farmer, and real estate agent. At 38 years old, he went to work for his father as a handyman. Cut from the high school basketball team, he went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. A teacher told him he was too stupid to learn anything, and he should go into a field where he might succeed by virtue of his pleasant personality. Fired from a newspaper because he lacked imagination and had no original ideas. His fiancée died, he failed in business twice, he had a nervous breakdown, and he was defeated in 8 elections. If you've never failed, you've never lived.
We can achieve that dream together. I believe in all of you and us as a team. Thanks for coming, and go Bucks.